Hi, hello, and welcome to Rebel Unicorn Crafts. My name is Lacey, and today we're going to be playing with Floetrol as a flood to preserve fun backgrounds. Now, if you know much about me or been doing my classes, I'm not a huge proponent of Floetrol as a basic supply for fluid painting because I think it just makes things a little more expensive and doesn't end up helping as much as people claim it does. So, it was a surprise to me when I was sent a possible technique and when I tested it out and absolutely fell in love with it. This is how Floetrol really changes the game. So if we have a really fun background, something like wood, if we want our pour to go over this wood, but we still want to be able to see the wood grain behind it, then what we're going to do is we're going to cover the entirety of our wood board or wood canvas or wood plank, however you want to do this, with Floetrol. A fairly thick layer of it. It doesn't need to be as thick as right when you pour it on. You can smooth it out a little bit, but you do want it to be pretty thick so it holds back the paint. Once you have a nice layer of the Floetrol all over your background, it's going to look kind of white. And that's okay because Floetrol does dry clear. That's why when you mix it with other colors, you don't get kind of candy colors or pastel colors. Then we can go on and do our actual pour. I'm going to be doing a directional pour, so I'm going to make a dirty cup, and I've pre-mixed my colors using Dick Blick Acrylics with Floetrol and a little water. I've got them thin, but I want them to be about the same consistency as the background Floetrol. So I'll go ahead and I will start pouring my dirty cup pour into these, and we don't need a ton of paint because part of the charm of this painting is going to be keeping the background visible so you can see the wood grain behind it. I specifically have a couple knots on my wood that I was hoping to feature, and so I'm going to kind of try to avoid those knots as I pour this or move it around so that they are ideally exposed at the end of this. The directional pour is my favorite because it's like a dirty cup, so you can't control everything, but you do get to control a little bit. So I'm going to go kind of at a diagonal, and I'm going to let this first pour that I do down, I love the stripes that happen, be kind of thicker and thin out, so I'll move a little faster towards the edge. Now I want a few stripes, and maybe they'll run together, maybe they won't, but I'm going to use the rest of what's in my dirty cup by just alternating pouring on either side of my initial stripe. And I'll do this until I've used all the paint in my cup, or, well, at least most of it, and then I'll get to moving it around. I want to stretch this a little bit so it exposes some of the colors behind it. Because my paint as well as my Floetrol are both a little bit thicker than what I typically work for, I really do have to kind of move this around to get much movement. But first thing, I love all the cells that happen when you do a dirty cup, and I'm excited about the colors. I chose the colors. I've got a very light colored board under there. So I wanted a pop color, which was going to be my dark purple. It's going to be a huge contrast against that kind of yellowish wood. And then I wanted some other kind of fun colors. So I chose a bright orange and a teal as well as a white to kind of balance all those other colors together. I'll go ahead and finish moving this around the canvas, and then the real exciting part of this is waiting for it to dry and watching the wood grain be slowly exposed underneath. Here's a close-up of the current painting. It's wet and we can't see any of the background, but loving the cells, loving the colors and the motion. This is the morning after I poured, and it's still pretty wet, but we're starting to get some drying and you can see the wood. I think this is gonna look super cool. About 18 hours after I poured. Yep, yeah, buddy. Look at that, that's so cool. This did take almost 2 days to fully dry and show the grain behind it, but man, it looks so neat, especially those webbing areas that show the wood grain behind it, and I was able to see all the knots of the wood. I'm really pleased and excited to do more tests with this technique. Will you try this technique? If you do, I'd love to see pictures. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. If you're local to Northern Colorado and would like to take a class, visit rebelunicorncrafts.com to see my class listings. If you'd just like to see what I'm up to, visit my Instagram at rebelunicorncrafts, or if you'd like to see my art, you can visit my other Instagram at LaceyWalkerArt. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a magically creative day.